Hello and welcome to the We All Follow the Arsenal podcast, the newest Arsenal podcast, reviewing, previewing and discussing everything in relation to Arsenal Football Club. As always, I'm here today with George. George, how are you doing today, mate?
I'm feeling great, Jack. How are you?
As the Mancunians would say, I'm buzzing.
Yeah, it's a very good morning. This morning, I'm very happy with the performance and the result last night.
And just before we get on to speaking about the United game, we also want to discuss the game against Tottenham Hotspur and the midweek against Rennes. Now, we did have a podcast lined up actually last week, and we apologise for not getting it out. However, due to the way the fixture list kind of came in, it was kind of difficult to get out on time. So, as we're just getting used to this, we apologise for our inconsistency, but we do hope to get into being a weekly regular thing, but we just need to kind of just get used to podcasting in general. But yeah, so we won't talk about it too much, but George, just quickly backtracking a week, how would you just quickly sum up this game against Tottenham?
Oh, well, the thing is, I thought personally that was one of our best performances of the season. We went to their place and we absolutely dominated them. It's just, to be fair, I didn't see Spurs scoring if it wasn't for the referee.
I don't think Spurs.
Agreed. Which in general I think is a massive point. Standard of refereeing, which we'll get onto, I'm sure, throughout the podcast, is in the Premier League is something that we should discuss because it's just not very good. I thought that obviously the goal was offside. I think the encroaching for both penalties, it wasn't just the Aubameyang one. Kane's penalty, we were also encroaching. So that
but the difference is different. No, it shouldn't have been. The difference between the penalties was this. With the penalty, with Kane's penalty, the penalty went in. So the whole point of encroaching is it puts off the striker. The difference why it should have brought back for us, we encroached a little bit, fair enough, for theirs. But Vertonghen was virtually in line with Aubameyang. But the reason why that was more of a victim sort of encroachment, I don't really know what the correct terminology is, but it's because he was able to use that advantage he got coming into the box, and then go make a last-ditch challenge from the rebound, which actually means that his encroachment actually physically interfered with the gameplay, whereas the encroachment for Harry Kane's penalty wasn't, because the penalty was still home, and clearly Aubameyang would have scored.
I guess with refereeing decisions, that you have to go by the laws of the game, and the laws of the game say that you're not allowed in the box. So, in my opinion, both of them should have been retaken, no matter if it went in or not. Because I've seen penalties in the past where they've scored the penalty, but someone's in the box and they have to retake it. That's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
But I mean, 100%.
As Tupac would say, that's just the way it is.
Absolutely, and obviously, like with the Aubameyang one, yes, it absolutely did lead to Vertonghen making a last-ditch tackle, which was a very good tackle nonetheless. But yeah, it shouldn't have even happened, because firstly, their first goal shouldn't have been a goal because Kane was offside before the penalty, and also the penalty should have been retaken. But yeah, no, overall, really good performance. I'm trying to think of the personnel. I thought Guendouzi had an absolute stormer first half. I thought Lacazette was class as per usual. And Ramsey played very, very well as well.
So, we've established that. So now we've got to move on to something which we're going to speak about, I think, very quickly, just to get it done. Thursday night. George, take it away. Just sum it up quickly, because I want to get into some more happier thoughts, and I want to get on to United because it's more current.
Yeah, Thursday was an interesting one, I thought. I thought that for the first 20-25 minutes, I thought we were very comfortable. I didn't think that Rennes posted much threat. I mean, apart from Sarr, who, to be fair, in the first 25 minutes, I thought Monreal stopped him quite well, made him face the wrong way and got him on the back foot. But then, obviously, you look to your most sort of experienced players to set an example, and unfortunately, you can't say this much of him this season, but Socrates just made two very, very silly errors and got himself sent off, which, yes, I think although the second one was very, very soft, was 100% a sending off. And then when we went down to 10 men, obviously their goal came straight away, and that doesn't help. But But yeah,
No.
after that, it looked like panic stations, a bit like Wenger Arsenal at times, and it was just it wasn't a very good away performance. However, we do have an away goal, and we can take that as a positive because we only have to beat them 2-0 on Thursday night to go through. So take that as you will.
I mean, yeah, I think you kind of summed it up really well. I'd just like to say one thing is that I felt we were a bit unlucky. I think the red card was a bit soft, the second yellow, and I think that's what cost us dearly. But yeah, no, I do think you summed that up very well. So I think maybe we should get away from that more depressing note and evaluate the game that was Arsenal versus Manchester United, or as United fans like to call it, Ole's wheel. George, there was a lot yesterday which needs to be spoken about, such as the formation, the lineup, and in general the gameplay and how it all panned out. So, how would you like to assess kind of the formation? Because it's something which we haven't really seen at all this season, really, in terms of the way we set ourselves out, and also playing Ramsey and Ozil together.
Agreed. In terms of playing 5 at the back, I thought for this game it's probably going to suit us more. I feel like whoever played as their left back, which was Shaw in this case, and Young at right back, I thought they were there to be got at. So I feel like playing Maitland-Niles, who had a great second half, and Kolasinac, who was just class again, they could get at them, and they did. Going on to the midfield, obviously Torreira was suspended. So I personally thought before the game that he'd play. I thought he'd play Xhaka and Guendouzi with either Ramsey or Ozil as a 10, but he didn't. He rested Guendouzi for Thursday night because we need a big performance from him. And played Ramsey next to Xhaka, which when I saw the lineup thought it was very interesting. I'm not sure I supported it fully, but then again I'm not Arsenal's manager, so that would be why.
Are you not?
No, absolutely. I thought Xhaka played very, very well, and we needed a good Xhaka performance, I think, to set the tone. I like the fact that Özil found a lot of space. He found a lot of space in between their defensive and middle line. Sort of got himself in the half spaces in the pockets very well. Which
hang on, George. It's just going. It's George. Hang on.
Yes, Jack. Can you hear me?
Stop. It's going really fuzzy. Hang on. George?
Yeah, can you hear me?
George, you there?
Yeah, I'm there. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you can keep talking now. Yeah, it's back. It's back.
Sorry, guys. A little bit of a technical difficulty. I thought that, so having Ozil in the pocket meant that we could play both Lacazette and Aubameyang. And for me, like Lacazette, I think is our best player probably. I think he sets the tone with his work rate, and how good he is off the ball and with his back face to goal, gets other people into play. I thought we set up in the right way, in my opinion. What about you, Jack? What are your thoughts?
No, look, I thought we set up really well. I actually really liked how we went about the game. I liked how I liked it in general. I liked the sort of I'm trying to think of the right terminology. Yeah, I liked everything about it. I thought it was very ballsy by Emery to play such an attacking lineup, and it seemed originally he was kind of hoping for kind of like you score 4, you score 4, we score 5. If you know what I mean, like based on just how it all kind of seemed. But then again, look, it was a very, very solid performance. It was exactly what we needed. And if I got to be honest, there aren't too many criticisms which I can really see from the performance. I thought, was it one of our best this season? It was definitely up there. I wouldn't say it was the best performance we put in the season, but on a tactical basis, yes, Emery can make some tactical stinkers, but it was a tactical masterclass, and it's something which you have to respect because he put in a very, very solid performance today. I mean, yesterday. Sorry.
Well, I do think that although it was very, very good, we did still look quite shaky at the back, especially when Lukaku got the ball. I mean, they had chances in which on another day we could have been 1-0 down after 10 minutes. Lukaku hit the bar, but yeah, overall we didn't seem so uncomfortable. We looked quite relaxed. It wasn't like previous performances against the top six where we looked like we were going to concede every single time they got the ball in our half. So yeah, I agree with you. I think Emery did get his tactics spot on.
No, yeah, I do agree with that. I just think yesterday it kind of just shows that we can do it. And one debate which it did make me see was that, are we so indifferent to where Liverpool were just before they signed Virgil van Dijk?
I feel like not so far off them at that stage, but I also think that their front three fire a lot more consistently than our front three. So at the time they were scoring loads and loads of goals, whereas I don't think we are yet. I feel like we still need to buy a top class winger to compete at that sort of level. But you're right in saying that it's quite similar. I definitely think the squad that Emery inherited was very similar of the one Klopp inherited. Maybe ours was slightly better, but yeah. But that just shows it's going to take time for Emery to sort of turn us around, which it looks like he started to do. Because I was thinking about this morning and I looked at our results against the top six this season. Yes, Liverpool and City are miles ahead of us, so I don't really look at those games. It's more about the other three teams around us. And okay, we took 4 points of Spurs, which should have been 6. On a different day, it would have been if the referee was on our side. We had chances away at United and beat United at home, and we played one of our best games, I think, of Emery's tenure at Chelsea, because we had so many clear-cut opportunities which we didn't score. So, and we beat them at home in a comfortable way as well. So, for me, even that already shows so much improvement that we're competing against the teams around us. Whereas you could say at the end of Wenger's tenure wasn't the case at all. So I'm liking the way it's going.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do see where you're coming from. Do you think that if we were to sign in the summer like an out and out winger and a quality centre back, and that's where we focused our attention to, as obviously buying players that are either young to push up into a squad or just squad players in general to help boost our squad as a whole, do you reckon that could see us as title challengers next season? Now, that's not jumping the gun. That's not saying we're going to win the league. That's saying, do you think we'll have the capability then to challenge? Because look at Liverpool. Add a winger, and we are 100. We are definitely better than they were before signing Van Dijk.
I don't think you're wrong. I don't think you're wrong. I feel like they are the two positions which we really need to address in the summer, and if they do that and bring in the appropriate players, then why not? I don't see why not. We can't at least challenge. I mean, you look at Spurs. 4 weeks ago they were challenging for the title. Now they're in a top 4 battle. So like the teams in the top 6 are quite close to each other in terms of that. So I don't see why not.
No, I agree with that. I mean, look, I mean, one stat I read, and this is nothing out of spite to Arsene Wenger, but one thing that I read was that we now are on the same level of points as we were at the end of last season. And we've got, what, 8-9 games to go now?
Yeah.
I think that's crazy.
Well, I mean, look, I'm obviously wasn't the biggest Wenger fan, especially in the last 5-6 years. But last season was his worst season by quite a long way. So although we definitely have improved, I'm not sure it was that difficult to improve on such a poor season. But yes, 100%, Emery's done a great job, and we are definitely going in the right direction.
No, I agree with that. Now, me and George actually met up the other day, and we were having a discussion about the club and the direction that we think that the club should go in, and what our potential is for the summer. So we were working out basically based on what our projected revenues are, who we'd sell and for what on a realistic level, and then using that into kind of who we could sign for that money. George, do you want to just go through exactly who you said that you'd sell and what prices to build our budget up? Because what's being spoken about at the moment is the budget is, because due to the self-sustaining model, it's going to consist of I think it's 75 million from Adidas. Sorry. No. I think it's around 60 odd million we get for a season from Adidas or something. Plus, obviously, player sales and Hang on, we're just going to pause the. Hang on, George, you back?
Yeah, I'm back.
The thing stopped.
Yeah, no.
So back to what I was saying. Yeah, so that's what I was saying. I think it's around 65, 70 million for Adidas, and then we also get another bit of chunk of money because of the new Emirates deal. Plus, obviously, player sales, and if we were to qualify for Champions League, that's another 50 odd million for TV money. And then we're looking at around a potential having around 140 to 200 million, depending on the sales. And yes, I know that's quite a big gap, but it all depends on how the club does its business. So, George, who would you sell and for what costs?
Okay, so going through the team, obviously, Czech's retiring, so that's 100 grand a week.
No, not in terms of wages, in terms of actually selling players.
Just selling players, okay.
Because obviously,
Chambers
Czech themselves about 200 grand. Really?
Yeah, I would sell Chambers. I feel like although he's had a reasonably good season at Fulham, he's still playing for a team that are most likely going to get relegated. So it doesn't really. We bought him for 16 million a few years ago, and to be honest, he hasn't really shown enough for me to stay in our squad. I feel like if you're talking about defensive midfield position, you've got Torreira, you've got Guendouzi, you've got Xhaka, and you've got Maitland-Niles who can play there as well, and El Neni, who I'd also sell actually.
In pre-season, he was actually the one centre back that looked the best out of everything we had. He was
maybe, but again,
and in terms of building this, remember we have to build a squad as well. He is a very, very, very solid player to bring off the bench, if anything. And if you need to bring him in for the odd game or for a cup rotation, he's perfect. And I know people say it's cup rotation, but you do need to have that squad, and that squad depth is something we don't have at the moment.
Well, if you look at our centre halves, at the moment we've got Socrates, we've got Koscielny, we've got Holding coming back.
Koscielny could be going.
Could be, but maybe not. And we've got Mustafi, so I'd definitely sell Mustafi, 100%.
For how much? Because one thing I'd like to add quickly is if we are to acquire Monchi, especially now that he's left Roma, the one benefit Monchi has over someone like Sven is Monchi has an excellent eye. So he's a very good scout as well. But his best thing is he's also a very good negotiator, and he's very, very good at getting deals over the line and selling players for a proper sum of money when need be. So. He's the sort of guy that will be able to get us 15 million for El Neni or 20 million for Mustafi, because that is what he utilizes the market, and he'll drag out every last penny. So we come across we benefit the most out of obviously the deal. More than that's our regime now we're done, where they're more inclined to take them more like a panic sort of sale.
Yeah, I'd say we probably wouldn't get anything more than 20 million for Mustafi.
20 million would be unbelievable though.
Yeah, and going back to the Chambers thing, if we could sell those two and get in a proper world-class centre-half, then I wouldn't.
Yeah, but based on the point that we already have around 70 million from Adidas plus the Adidas deal and Champions League TV money means we're already looking around 130 million.
Maybe, but even just getting wages off is.
Callum Chambers is not a big wage, and Callum Chambers is
a
5-year deal.
He's not. He's on I think 25k a week, but at the same time,
exactly. So who would you couldn't bring someone else in on 25 grand a week?
Maybe not, but you could probably bring in a better player who could do more than that Callum Chambers. I don't know. That's probably a slightly debatable one, but the two that I'd definitely sell would be El Neni and Mustafi. Obviously there's quite a few who have contracts running out and they'll leave as well. I'm not sure is Nacho in his last year, or is he got one more year?
I think he's got an extension. I'm not sure it's been triggered, but I'm not sure if he has a year left. I actually can't remember the top of my head. But I'd sell Nacho Monreal.
I mean, I love Nacho. Don't get me wrong, but I feel as Sarr, I know 100%. As Sarr exposed him so badly on Thursday night, it just shows that at the top level you need to have pace as a fullback. And unfortunately, with the age that he is and not having a tremendous amount of pace anyway, that would always let him down. And if we can replace him with a young, Ale Grimaldo type player.
Tagliafico, who apparently could be available for only £7 million.
So yeah, Tagliafico, the guy from Ajax.
Yeah, I can't pronounce his name to save my life, but yeah.
I think it's Tagliafico, but They're in,
he sounds like that pasta, isn't it? Tagliatelle.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, so someone like that to replace him. But if we can't find a suitable replacement, then having someone like Nacho just in the changing room is probably not such a bad thing. But yeah, definitely those two. Maybe Nacho as well.
Because I mean, look, one thing that I want us to do is I like the idea of us signing like an up and coming left back who essentially can kind of play. So depending on the game, we rotate. Because obviously Emery won't. I think we've learned now. Emery won't have a team he likes week in, week out. He tailors his team to the opposition, which is something obviously Arsenal do. So I think we will never really know what sort of player he wants. But I think we need like more of a young up and coming left back to push Kolasinac more and further on. So I think Kolasinac has potential to be a world class left back, and I mean that just by his capability going forward alone. But he's starting to get better defensively as well.
Yeah.
And
but,
I think,
I mean, bringing in someone, a left back, it shouldn't be a wing back for me. It should be a proper left back, because obviously Kolasinac is a lot better as a wing back, and although he's improving,
saying that the modern day left back is more or less a wing back, anyways. That whole, if you watch academy level, it's rather than being for the old sort of mold like a Monreal, it is now very much pace. So even what would have been more of a wing back criteria is now being utilised more of just a left back in general, because that's the way the football's evolving.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
So on a reader's level, so let's say let's not go too, because it's very easy to blurt out players for 200 million quid. Let's say we've got 120 million plus sales. That's about 140. Who do you sign? So
well, the first thing I'd do is get De Ligt in for 69 million of what is being reported as his worth.
More.
He's 19. He's Ajax captain. He plays next to Van Dijk in the international team.
Just to add, just as we said before, we're not so. He's a very, 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 very good centre back. He has potential to be one of the best in the world. And based on looking at what Van Dijk has done to transform Liverpool, there's no reason why he wouldn't, even him alone, even without a winger, couldn't put us challenging for a title next season. Based on what the firepower we've got, obviously a winger is essential. But I'm saying that if you look at Liverpool, that one signing a proper solid centre back to fix a leaky defence can be all needed in the season. I mean, look how Van Dijk literally saved them in games already this season. Absolutely. Like he's been a revelation.
I saw a stat that he hasn't lost an air battle since January. That's 2 months with the ball flying about in the air there. And also I think he's the only centre back in the Premier League that hasn't been dribbled past this season, which is just ridiculous. So yeah, he's made an absolute huge impact on Liverpool and could be the reason for them potentially winning the league. So yeah,
and then hopefully we'd have. I mean, based on what you just said, then it'd be. And can I say this is none of this is me saying that we're signing De Ligt at all. This is just we're talking hypotheticals. I'd just like to outline that now. But that based on that, what George is saying, then theoretically we'd have Socrates and De Ligt as a centre back partnership, and then Mavropanos, who should hopefully by then have shaken off his groin injury, which he keeps having recurring, who we all know is quality. Having him as another choice, maybe even Koscielny if he's still there, then that's a solid option of centre backs. And
absolutely.
Obviously, and also not to forget Rob Holding, because he's better than Cannavaro.
Yeah, interesting comment from you, but yeah,
I'd love. God, can you imagine a three at the back? Socrates, De Ligt, and Holding.
Yeah, it'd definitely be a lot better than we have now. Even if we go into the market and sign like a young guy, the guy from Leipzig, what's his name?
Upamenko.
Upamenko, yeah.
I take that as well.
Yeah, I mean,
I just want some big centre back. Like we've got some nasty pieces of work on our team in terms of strength on the pitch and people who are who put in a project like people like Granit Xhaka, who I think has been a revelation this season. Obviously Kolasinac and whatnot. And if we were to, and obviously to an extent Torreira, but if you were to bring in a big centre back to go alongside them, we would do some serious damage. Obviously Socrates as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think we were looking at another player from Leipzig, Konate. I've heard he's quite a good young player. So, I mean, yes, we need a massive money proper centre half, but also looking for little bargains.
To be fair, look, we could spend. I mean, hypothetically, if we have that 70 million for centre back, yes, you could go chuck it at Koulibaly. But the one thing that is beneficial for De Ligt is Socrates. We spent 20 million, about 18, 20 million pounds on, obviously last summer. But the money we spent on Socrates, he's going to be more or less out the door in 2 years based on his age. So if you think about it, rather than signing a 28-year-old or 30-year-old centre-back for 30, 40 million, which you know you're going to spend another 30 million in a couple of years, why not go spend that 69 million on De Ligt? Because it makes the sort of player you need to suddenly get rid of in a few years because his legs are back and he's not facing his ability.
Yeah,
George?
Sorry, I can hear you now. You cut out for a second, but yes, I can hear you now. You're right. You're absolutely right. No, we should sign a proper young
Makes financial sense. And just to say that there are strong rumours going on at the moment, going off today, that Josh Kroenke was photographed was in attendance at the game, and he said that apparently he said that the performance that was shown with Emery is enough to be back significant in the transfer market, and he's going to have a meeting with Emery. I read this on Twitter, so don't this may not necessarily be the case, but apparently he's having a meeting with Emery, and they're going to discuss the plans going forward, which hopefully can push us in the right direction. Because I'll tell you what, to be in the position right now, I'm not saying we're going to get top four, and I'm not getting cocky, and I'm not doing any of that, but based on where we are, it's in our hands and it's ours to lose. Spurs, I think, have to go to both Old Trafford and the Etihad. United have City, I think, at home, and they also have Spurs. I think they've got City away and then Spurs at home. Just in general, every other Big Six team has at least 2 Big Six games, whereas we don't have any. Our toughest game now is probably Wolves away, which will be in no means an easy fixture, but you know what I mean.
Absolutely. Who else would you think of signing? Obviously,
if we have a smaller budget for any reason and we save money for January or whatever, like you never know what they can come up with. But if we have, I would say signing someone like De Ligt is probably the best thing we can do. And then if we've got enough money for a big name winger and then 3 or 4 squad players, then do that. But if we need to buy more squad players, we don't have as much money because we spent 70 million on someone like De Ligt, then I'd 100% pay £20 million to Carrasco.
Yeah, I mean, if that's how much it's going to take to get Carrasco.
Am I right in saying that that Hamšík's just gone to DFB Yang as well?
Yeah, he has. I mean, well done for the pronunciation there, but
from what I know about the Chinese league, I think there's a quota we can only have 1 foreign player in a squad within a year. Obviously, if there's a little overlap, that's different. So maybe, or not maybe, that should mean that they're kind of forced to sell Carrasco, who's also desperate for a move back to England. I mean, to Europe, to the continent.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he tore us apart in the Champions League for Monaco. I remember at the Emirates. He's a very, very good player. Quick, direct, got good feet, good end product. But I think that we should be aiming for someone better if we can. I mean, someone like, I don't know, Leon Bailey for Bayer Leverkusen.
Again, that would be more of a big money sort of deal.
No, agreed. I'm talking big money. I'm saying hypothetically, if we do have the high end budget that we hope to have, someone like him or even someone like Zaha. Zaha shouldn't be playing. Zaha shouldn't be playing for a club like Crystal Palace anymore. He's just too good.
Just to add to that, if we were to have the big end of the budget at left back, I would not even hesitate. Even if it meant not even getting someone like De Ligt, I would go for. I mean, look, you can get the centre back there as well. You can get Maguire, but obviously, I said De Ligt or Maguire probably are our 2 best options in terms of who would benefit us the most. But the one player I think we do need to try for is Ben Chilwell.
Yeah, 100%. British, English. Proper left back.
Or would you say British English? Obviously, same thing.
I know. I just wanted to be more politically correct. But yes, no, 100%. He's a proper good defender, and obviously he's good going forward as well. Yeah, definitely, absolutely.
Just to call out that guy, I think his name is Ransom Bance, for calling Aubameyang, just quickly because it reminded me, a Gabonese Jamie Vardy. Oh, he did bits against you, didn't he, yesterday, mate? Shame. Sorry, I had to be
fair, he didn't play that well. He actually didn't play.
Did he score the winning goal? Yes.
He absolutely did score the winning goal, and that's all that matters. So
That's yeah. He could say we've got a Gabonese Jamie Vardy. It's like me saying they've got a Belgium Akinfenwa.
But yeah, it's true. It's true. Even someone like I'm trying to think. Even someone like Sarr, the bloke who played for Rennes, he looks like a very good young prospect.
The annoying one is the winger I wanted the most, and I think we all did. Is a rumor has it is offers to Bayern Munich, and that's Pepe.
Oh, I mean, he'd be absolutely amazing. I mean, in the league at the moment, there are some great young talents. I'm trying to think of like left. You go into Lyon and you look at their defensive midfielder Ndombele, who's 20 years old and having a great season. Their left back, I think Ferland Mendy, also having.
To be fair, people are really frowning upon the French league, but it's actually getting a lot better.
No, it's improving hugely. And look, I don't think they lost to City in the group stages. So, and I think they're level with Barca now, going into the second leg, is it? Is that right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
What, Lyon?
Yeah, Lyon.
Oui.
So, yeah, they're a proper side as well. And they've got some good players, of which I think we could look into. But, yeah, it's difficult. Obviously, the market's a lot. I think it's probably more difficult to get the players that you want than it has ever been because of just the competition around you and the money in football.
And technology. If it wasn't for social media, they wouldn't know who half the players are.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do forget that we do have Reiss Nelson coming back, and I'm not sure how much of an impact he is going to make, but he does look like a good prospect as well.
And I'd just like to say on the point of Reiss Nelson, do you know what? Despite he was only on the pitch for 5 minutes, Eddie Nketiah yesterday looks sharp. But one thing which I've noticed in Eddie yesterday, he looked big. He looked he's really gained his muscle.
I feel like that's what the club, they looked at him and probably said, look, he's technically a great player. He scores a lot of goals at the youth level, but if you want to be playing, if you want to be playing first team football, you've got to be bigger. So they've probably got him on a bulking program, and it looks to have paid off so far. But look, you can't
The other one, who I'll tell you what, looked like he's getting bigger as well, and he's stronger, and he's starting to
big boy good. Dennis.
Just like to say, not Dennis Bergkamp. Other Dennises are available, as I would say. Dennis Suarez.
Yeah, Dennis Suarez looked very good when he came on. Very direct. He looks like he wants to be there, and that's what I love passionate players.
He does look like Aaron Ramsey's little brother.
Oh, he really does. But no, he looked good. He was driving forward. He created a nice chance for Iwobi, I thought. And look, I feel like we've got him in January to basically get him prepared for next season, because I think the price.
It's a price. Yeah, carry on. Sorry, George.
I think the price of signing him was 15 to 20 million, isn't it? In the option to buy.
Yeah, which is worth it.
Which I think is worth it at this stage, especially with Ramsey going out. And obviously he gives us another option out wide. So yeah, it's an interesting one. What were you going to say before?
It's a bit similar to I think what Spurs are actually doing with their new stadium, because everyone knows it's shaky when you first go to a new ground. I think giving them their last few games of the season to get ready so they can kind of go for it next season, despite the fact they probably will be appearing in the Europa League as it looks. Funny. Yeah, it's the same sort of principle in football. You kind of just it takes time in any situation, no matter if it's a new stadium, whether it's a new player, when it's a new environment, to gel and to sink into that environment. So having that bit of a trial run actually puts you kind of 6 months ahead, rather than signing someone like Suarez in the summer and then you've got the 6-month transition period to begin with. I mean, look at Torreira. Torreira spent the first few months when he joined settling in.
And Leno, who I must say has been
again,
and was absolutely phenomenal yesterday. And he's honestly, I tell you what, you talk about keepers getting you, 10 points a season. He has absolutely deserved to be our number one keeper.
He's also crazy like Lehmann.
Yeah, he's a proper German goalkeeper. I love it. I absolutely love it. He's confident. His confidence reminds me of Ter Stegen. Obviously, we can't be comparing him to that sort of level goalkeeper yet, but he's 27 now?
I'll tell you what, there's no reason why Leno can't give Ter Stegen a run for his money for the Germany place if he continues his current form.
Absolutely. He needs to continue it, because he's so key in the way we play out from the back also, and just the shot stopping. He gives us confidence. The only thing I am slightly worried with him is getting the ball out the air, but obviously you can't be good at absolutely everything, and I'm sure he'll improve that as the years go on.
To be fair, the wind, yes, I'm not trying to be like someone like Ty and just cuss the weather, or Jurgen Klopp, but the weather yesterday was diabolical.
Oh no, I agree. I wasn't really basing the getting the ball out the air on yesterday's performance. It was more of a general comment. But yeah, no, you're right. It wasn't very ideal. Did you watch Match of the Day? You see like Lallana after their game, and he was saying, yeah, 1 minute it was sunny, the next it was hailing, the next it was raining, and then I was on the bench getting a tan. So like the weather yesterday in all parts of the UK was pretty crazy. But yeah. Yeah, no, Leno has been very, very good for us this season, and I'm happy we signed him, especially for the price we got him. Is like, I mean, since Emery's come in, I'm not sure who does the negotiating, whether it's Raul or whether it was Sven. But the players that we brought in for the prices, unbelievable. Honestly, like Leno, what was it, I think 22, 26 million, Torreira 22, Guendouzi 8, Socrates I think 17. These guys have been probably our most consistent performers this season. So I'm very happy with the players that we brought in. It's just we need to give him another transfer window or few to bring in more.
No, I know what you mean. Look, one thing that we also want to say to the podcast is that we're going to try and hang on. Actually, we've just got a question for the podcast come through, George.
Go
on. About the standard of refereeing is: do you think that VAR will improve it or make it worse? Now, I personally don't think it will make much of a difference because the referees still approve VAR, and if VAR is going to have to be done a proper way, then it's got to be what was I going to say? It's got to be through the kind of the way the World Cup did it, when they had proper kind of football officials behind the scenes doing it, rather than letting the ref check and monitor.
Look, I feel like obviously VAR is still subjective in the way that a referee who's watching it from a camera will still be making the decision. But I feel like having, in terms of maybe offsides or something like that, when the game's slowed down and you can see it through a camera, it's a lot easier to make the correct decision. So although I don't think it's going to solve it completely, it's definitely going to improve it. Like the game against Spurs, those errors just wouldn't have been, with VAR, they all would have been like solved. So yeah, I think it will improve it. That's my personal opinion. But yeah. I also want to quickly mention, not just how we play. It's more like the mentality that Emery's instilled within the club is so much better than it was. Like you look at the way Lacazette grabbed Aubameyang before the penalty and said, you know what, you're going to... I mean, obviously I wasn't in the conversation, but you can imagine he was just saying, don't worry, you got this, bro. And the link up that those two have, I mean, I think Aubameyang did it for Lacazette last season to get his confidence up. That sort of thing is going to help the team. You can just see a better mentality there. Do you agree?
No, I do agree with 100%. But anyways, I think maybe we should wrap this up now, because I don't want to keep them too long. We keep them long when we have guests and whatnot. And I'd say thank you for listening. Please remember to subscribe, like, and share on all social media platforms. We're looking to get this onto the Apple Podcast Store and other podcast forums. Please remember, if possible, to follow myself on Twitter at @theplugafc and on Instagram jack.goldenberg. And George, plug away your handles.
My Instagram is George Lee spelled Leigh 12, and on Twitter it is @GeorgeLee123. So very easy from me. And
thank you very much for listening. We'll be back soon. We will do a podcast for the Rennes game, and then we've got a nice little break to re-evaluate the club. With our next home game being, obviously after Rennes, being on the 1st of April on Monday night, 8 p.m, Newcastle United at home. Thank you for listening. And yeah, we will be back shortly. Cheers.